Hi friends, this is Lincoln Pereira, and in this quick video, I'm going to demonstrate how deadline monitoring works in SAP workflow. This video is the second part of the blog I have written at beginners-sap.com, so you can read the first part or the explanation of this concept in the blog. The link for which you can find in the comment section below. Okay, so to demonstrate SAP deadline monitoring in SAP workflow, I have here a very basic approval workflow, and this workflow, as you can see, has a decision step, and based on the user's decision, it's going to send out an email notification informing the requester whether their request was approved or denied. Now, this could be a very generic approval like a leave request approval or a performance appraisal approval or a purchase order approval, etc., based on the way you have designed your workflow. But the concept remains the same, that there is a approval task, and once the approver takes an action on the approver task, based on the action, the requester will receive an email notification. Okay, so the assumption here is that the approver should act on their tasks or the work items in a timely fashion. So they should approve the request in a timely fashion. But let's say it is noticed that the approvers do not act on the approval request promptly, but they take a long time to approve or act on their work item. So we have been asked to add a deadline to this approval task, such that when the approver does not approve the task within the given time frame, so let's say within 2 minutes, then the task should become invalid or obsolete. So here 2 minutes is just an example. It could even be 2 days or 2 months, etc. But I hope you get the idea. So let me quickly walk you through the task. So if I double click the task, I'll be taken here into the outcomes tab. So you can see that there are two outcomes that I have set for this task. One is approve and other is reject, and accordingly the decision is approved or rejected. There's also another outcome called processing obsolete. We will use this, but right now let's move on to the latest end date, and let's add a latest end to our workflow, because we have to set up a deadline. So I'm clicking latest end here, and the assumption is that within this time frame this task should be completed. So select latest end date tab, and here you can see there is a drop down which says no deadline monitoring active. That means this there is no deadline for this task. So to set a deadline, we'll say here I'm just selecting work item creation time. So from work item creation time to 2 minutes, if the work item is not completed within 2 minutes of the work item creation time, then what we need to do is we will select modeled. Okay, so here in the drop down we'll select modeled, and then in the outcome we will say escalated. Hit enter, and now if you see in the outcomes tab again, you will see that there is another outcome that has been added here which says latest end, and that is latest end here, and the outcome that we had added escalated has appeared here. So let's also activate processing obsolete, because once the latest end date is reached, we will need to obsolete our work item, right? So I'm going to select processing obsolete, and let's transfer this back to the model. So here you can see in the template we already had request denied and request approved, but right now we also have added another link which is processing obsolete, and we have another item which is escalated. So this means that we have activated latest end deadline on our task. In other words, that our task is now ready to respond to the 2 minutes latest end deadline. So we therefore now need to add a step in order to handle this deadline. So what we'll do is we'll use the process control step to make the approval task obsolete when the latest end is reached. So to do that, first select the escalated node here or escalated step, and right click on this node and select create. And then from the list we are going to select process control. Okay, so let's select process control and then click tick. Okay, so this is the process control step that we are going to add into our workflow. So in the step name we can say latest. So I have said latest end escalated, and the outcome is that the latest end is reached. Okay, so latest end. and in the function I'm going to select, because we have been asked to do a set this work item as obsolete, so I'm going to select obsolete. If we cancel the workflow, then the whole, if we complete the workflow, then the whole workflow will get completed. So that's not what we want to do. We just want to set the work item as obsolete, and then it would say, okay, which step do you want, which work item or which step do you want to set as obsolete. So here I will take a drop down, and because we only have one step in our workflow, so it's just giving me one step, which is the approval step. If you would have had lot of steps, then it would give all the steps here, and we can select whichever one we want to set as obsolete. So here I'm setting the approval step. Okay. So let me now transfer this into our graphical view. Here you can see that I have now added the process control latest and escalated. So basically here now we have 4 outcomes for our approval request. If the approval request is approved by the manager or the approver, it will send an approval email. If it is rejected, it will send a rejected email. If the work item is not acted upon in 2 minutes, right, then it will go to the escalated link or escalated branch. Here we have a process control which says that set this task number 004 to obsolete. So as soon as it sets obsolete, we now have another branch called process obsolete, and here we can then send an email notification if we want to the initiator, telling them, hey, the task has been set to obsolete, so there is no need for you to work on this step anymore, etc. Or you can do some other stuff like move set this task to obsolete, so you can then create another task and send it to the superior, etc. Okay. So let me quickly add an email notification here. So to do that, I'm going to right click here and hit the create button or the create option, and then select send mail. So once I select the send mail, a send mail task is ready for me to be added into my workflow template. Here I can just add a subject line saying work item or approval task set to obsolete, and then in the text I can just say, dear user, okay, so I can just transfer this now into my graphic. It's just asking me to save this. I say okay, no problem, save this as a local object. So that's it. So I have transferred this into my template now. So here you can see clearly that now we are having 4 branches for the approval step. 2 of them are pretty simple, the request approved and request denied branch, and we also have the escalated branch. So if the manager does not approve the task within 2 minutes, then the task is set to escalate, and if it escalates, then we will set to will send out an email notification to the manager saying that the approver that the process is now set to obsolete and they don't need to act on the task anymore. Okay. So like I said, instead of sending an email, we can escalate this or send the work item to another manager or any other agent, etc. So that's based on the business process, but this is how we set deadlines in for our for our tasks in SAP workflow. So let me just save this thing and this template, and let me activate it. So there I have activated my template now. So this is now ready for testing. Okay. So hope you like this video. Thanks a lot.